Hello. In this video, we will introduce how our SlideHub design service works, walk you through the types of works we offer, explain how to provide us with instructions, go over our working hours, and show you how to send tasks to us. SlideHub is easy to use once you're familiar with the process. Our team takes the time to understand your preferences and guidelines to ensure a consistent and seamless experience. Here we have the types of work we offer, such as brush-up, visual enhancement, recreation, and not standard tasks. I will explain each one individually and show you some examples on the next slides. But before we start, please note that we do not edit content or do any sort of calculations. This means that we cannot summarize the content that you have on your slides, or reinterpret it to have less text, nor can we work inside Excel and do data formatting for you. Our final deliverable files are always in PowerPoint, but you can submit any format file as an input for us to work on. If you also require a PDF as the final file, we can send that alongside the PowerPoint file as well. Note that the deliverables you get depend on the instructions provided. If you use our language, we'll get closer to your needs. So it tremendously helps our clients when they become familiar with the terms we use, like brush up and visual enhancement, and it's much faster to provide instructions to SlideHub this way. First, let's talk about brush up. Brush up focuses on ensuring alignment, coloring, and consistency across all slides while following your company's style and guidelines. However, it does not include any structural changes or the addition of new graphical elements such as icons or images. It simply means that your slides will be fully aligned with your company's branding and visual rules. Here you can see some examples of slides where brush up was applied. The input is shown on the left, and the output on the right. Brush up involves adjusting the file to match the correct template and layouts. You can compare different templates and examples to see how titles, subtitles, footers, trackers, logos, and page numbers are all placed correctly, ensuring that the content fits neatly within the slide frame. Every slide includes a defined frame to maintain consistency throughout the deck. This process also includes applying the correct color palette from your template, fixing font types and sizes, preserving animations and transitions, converting graphs to ThinkCell or Microsoft formats, depending on your company rules, ensuring consistency and fixing any misalignments or jumping elements when presenting, making sure the overall design fits perfectly within your company style. Brush up can be applied to any type of slide, but keep in mind that the outcome will remain quite simple and straightforward. So, if you're preparing a deck for a large audience presentation or a sales pitch, brush up might not be the best fit. In those cases, a visual enhancement would be more suitable, as it makes your slides more engaging and visually appealing for your audience. Visual enhancements includes everything that brush up includes, with the addition of picture recreations, improvement of the overall structures on the slides, and addition of new graphical elements like icons or pictures. It simply means that your slides will match your company branding and rules and will also be made to be more visually appealing for the audience. Here we can see some slide examples where visual enhancement was applied. You can see we have changed the structure of the slides considerably. We have added icons and made more interesting shapes to make the message more appealing to the audience. You can also see that additional yellow stickers have been added by the client. You can see some here to better guide us on the work required. This is not needed unless you feel you would like to provide us with more specific guidance. Consider this input slide. We applied the brush up on the left and visual enhancement on the right. Here you can see an abstract comparison between brush up and visual enhancement. On the left, you can see the brushed up slide has simply made sure that the content is all aligned and is matching the branding and guidelines. While the visually enhanced slide on the right has applied the same standards as brush up, but with the extra of improving the overall structure of the slide and adding visual elements like icons. Next, let's go through recreation tasks. As the name suggests, recreation is all about recreating files from any format. That could be images, PDFs, scanned pages, handwritten notes, or anything else that needs to be turned into an editable PowerPoint slide. Recreation always includes brush up, which means that once we recreate your content, we'll also make sure it follows your company's branding and style guidelines. Now, if you'd like the recreated slides to look more visually engaging than the originals, you can request recreation and visual enhancement together. Otherwise, brush up will simply be applied to keep the result close to the original look and feel. On this slide, you can see a few examples of recreation tasks. In most of these, we only applied brush up, but in a few cases, we added icons and pictures, as requested by the client through yellow stickers. Now let's talk about non-standard tasks. Non-standard tasks are anything that doesn't fit into our regular categories like brush up, visual enhancement, or recreation. These can include things like converting content from Excel to PowerPoint, creating complex timelines, building simple illustrations, and more. For example, creating PowerPoint templates in Slide Master, designing brochures or posters, or working on custom formats, all of those are considered non-standard. Even though they're all done in PowerPoint, they require more specific instructions and reference materials to make sure we capture your needs accurately. We can also handle icon or illustration creation that might require additional software, like Photoshop or Illustrator. If you ever have a special request and you're not sure whether it fits into our standard categories, just reach out to us. We'll let you know if we can help. Keep in mind, though, that we can't guarantee taking on every non-standard task, especially if it falls completely outside our scope. These kinds of projects usually need a longer turnaround time, typically 48 hours or more, depending on how complex they are. We can also work in any PowerPoint size, such as A1, A2, A3, or even vertical layouts. So even though we're not using Photoshop or Illustrator directly, we can still create non-standard PowerPoint file sizes for you. When you need something beyond brush up or visual enhancement, it's really helpful to add clear instructions. If you already know your slides will need something more specific, make sure to write that either directly on the slides or in your task description. For more complex projects, we always recommend leaving room for iteration. That way, we can align better and fine-tune the final result. And of course, if needed, we're happy to jump on a quick call to clarify any details. Most tasks are handled easily over email, but sometimes a short call makes everything smoother. We also recommend using yellow stickers on your slides to help guide us. For example, at SlideHub, please apply visual enhancement and propose 2 options. At SlideHub, please recreate the picture and brush up the slide. At SlideHub, please make sure the content fits well on the slide and apply brush up. These quick notes really help us understand exactly what you want for each slide. If you don't want to add stickers to every slide, that's totally fine. You can simply mention general instructions like, please apply brush up to the whole deck, or please apply visual enhancement to the whole deck and recreate any pictures. You can also ask for something specific, like, please propose 2 visual enhancement options for slide 2. The level of detail is completely up to you. Now, let's talk about how to choose the right type of work for your slides. First, think about who you're presenting to. If it's for an internal meeting, usually brush up or light brush up is enough. But if it's for a larger audience, like a sales pitch or a conference, you'll probably want visual enhancement to make your slides more engaging and impactful. Next, consider the content on your slides. If your slides are very text-heavy or filled with graphs, they're already content-dense, so we'd usually only apply brush up to those. If you want to make them more visual, we may need to split that content across multiple slides, which we can do, as long as you let us know in advance. If your slides are simpler, like with bullet points or less content overall, then visual enhancement can easily be applied to make them stand out more. The deadline also plays an important role. If your project is urgent, say, you need it back within 3 to 6 hours, we'll likely only be able to apply brush up. If you have more time, we can include recreation, visual enhancement, or a mix of both, for example, enhancing the key slides while brushing up the rest. And finally, think about the complexity of your task. If it's something like creating a brochure, timeline, or illustration, it may fall under non-standard work, which typically needs more time. If you're ever unsure which option fits best, just reach out. We'll help you decide what works best for your slides. Now let's look at the average scope of work for each task type. Brush up, around 3 to 5 slides per hour. Visual enhancement, 1 to 2 slides per hour. Recreation, 1 to 2 slides per hour. Non-standard, depends on the complexity. Every task has a minimum charge of 1.4 credits. That's because each task goes through 2 layers of quality control, first by a designer, and then by a project manager, ensuring you always get a consistent, high-quality result. Since there's a fixed amount of time spent on setup and communication, we recommend sending tasks in bulk whenever possible to get the most out of that minimum charge. We're open 24 hours a day, including holidays, and we only close briefly between midnight and 8 a.m. Central Europe time on Sundays. Here are some typical turnaround examples. For small projects under 10 slides, if sent by 10 a.m. Central Europe time, you'll usually get them back the same day. For medium projects of 10 to 30 slides, if sent by 6 p.m., you'll get them back the next morning. For larger projects, around 100 slides, the turnaround is usually about 2 days. Our standard deadlines range from 6 to 12 hours, and our minimum turnarounds are between 3 and 6 hours, depending on the amount of work required and our current capacity levels. Now, let's go over how to send a task. You can send your slides through email, the PowerPoint add-in, or the SlideHub platform. We recommend using the add-in or platform, since they're the most efficient. If it's your first time using the service and your company is already onboarded, try sending a small task first with a comfortable deadline. That way, you can see how the process works before submitting something time-sensitive. Once you send a task, you'll get an automated confirmation email, unless that feature is turned off. Our project managers will review your request and get back to you within 15 to 20 minutes with any questions or a confirmed deadline. So please make sure you're available to reply during that time so we can move forward smoothly. Some of the questions we might ask include: which slides should we work on? Confirmation or clarification of instructions. What deadline are you working toward? Which template should we use? Should we recreate any pictures? And so on. We recommend our clients to add their phone numbers and time zones on their SlideHub profile settings so that we may give you a call to better align on projects if needed, and also ensure your request deadlines work within your business hours. Here you can see how to add your phone number and time zone. Just go to your profile settings and there you are able to add your time zone and phone number. If you prefer to send a task via email, you can do that. Just write a short message with your instructions and deadline, attach your file, and send it as you normally would. Just remember there's a file size limit of 25 megabytes for email submissions. To use the add-in, just open PowerPoint, click on the SlideHub logo, and then select Send a Task. Fill in the details, choose your deadline, and click Send, and you're done. On the SlideHub platform, once you log in, go to the Send a Task page. You can see here on the right side that we currently have good service capacity level. This can have 3 different levels. It can be green, yellow, or red. Green is when we have good capacity. Yellow is when we have medium, and red is when we have reduced service capacity. This serves to show you our current capacity level so that you can manage your expectations in terms of the deadlines that we can actually deliver. So now to send a task, first click here to select My File. This is the file we were currently looking at before with the yellow stickers. I'll just select that one. You can also drag and drop your files here. It works the same way. Then select what kind of template you would like SlideHub team to use. So if I untoggle this one, I can select any other file that I might have on the company files. But at the moment, I would like to keep the existing templates so the team will know to just keep whatever template this file has. I can also add multiple files here if there's a need. Then I can select if I want to add a reference file. Now it automatically selected this style because it is the file that we have on company files, and I can either untoggle it or leave it as is, so the team knows to follow this style. If I want to add another file, I can do that as well and indicate to the team whether it should be used as inspiration or if they should continue following the style of the current file. Then I scroll down. I already wrote this message here, so we know I already have yellow stickers in that file, so I just want the team to follow those instructions, but I do know I requested brush up, visual enhancement and recreation, so I just make sure to select those here as well. Next, scroll down to set the deadline. There are 2 options. Relative deadlines, which provide a set of suggested options. Specific date and time, where I can select my time zone and the exact time I'd like the file returned. For example, if I want it returned by tomorrow, I select the date and time. It will default to set, but I can choose another time zone if needed. At the bottom, I can add colleagues in CC, specify a budget, or include a project ID, which helps identify the project later when reviewing invoices. I also have the option to mark this task as a quick quality assurance task, prioritizing speed over quality for urgent deliveries. Once everything is set, I click Send a Task. I can then indicate whether to prioritize quality or deadline, which helps the project managers manage capacity while delivering the best possible result. I can also rename the final file if needed, and toggle notifications to limit emails or enable confirmations. After the task is sent to the delivery team, they'll review it and get back with any questions or a confirmation of the deadline and work scope. We highly recommend taking some time to explore the platform to get familiar with the available options and see how you can make the most out of our platform. If you have any questions or need a more detailed walkthrough, We'd be happy to book a meeting with you to go through everything in more depth. Here you can find the email address of our customer success team. They're always happy to help with any questions or to schedule a call with you and your team to explain more about how our service works. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We look forward to helping you with your slides.